Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, you're listening to World Combat Sports. If you haven't heard, let me holler at you for a second. Jon Jones vacates his light heavyweight title, y'all. You know what it is. World Combat Sports, man. You know, with this Muddy Flats announcement, mixed martial arts. Jon Jones, considered the GOAT of mixed martial arts, he vacated his title. So for those of you that's tuned in, first and foremost, if you like what you're hearing, hit the like button and also share the video. It's always good to share the content because it builds the following, and that's what we're here for. It's here for teamwork, people. That's what it's all about. So check this out. Jon Jones, the motherfucking GOAT of mixed martial arts, has vacated his light heavyweight title. Now, some of you might be saying it's not something that you're concerned with. It doesn't make a big deal. It is. It's a huge deal. Because it's been over 3,000 days that Jon Jones has ruled atop the light heavyweight division. In and out. He's had serious amount of problems, out of the cage, from a hit and run to testing positive for PEDs, having an incident with the law enforcement. Then the most recent incident when he was in New Mexico, he was out doing the curfew, supposed to be in his home and quarters. And, they gave him a breathalyzer. He ended up, testing over the limit. And then everything else, dealing with a gunshot. Somebody was firing off the pistol. And there was just so much going on with Jon Jones. He'll tell you, hey, he's not committing to saying he's a role model for anybody. He's always been that guy. So, light heavyweight title allows those individuals that could not defeat Jon Jones, now they have an opportunity to become the light heavyweight champion of the UFC. I'm serious, man. This is like a gift from the gods, the pantheon of mixed martial arts, man. They have shined down on that particular organization, and there's a lot of people that's going to be happy. I can't lie to you. Man. It's a lot of his opposition that he's defeated, and some guys that were standing in line in the light heavyweight division saying to themselves, I don't know when I'm gonna get the next opportunity. I really don't know when the hell I'm gonna be able to step in there. And if I do step in there, right, do I have what it take to defeat the man Jon Bones Jones? You know what I'm saying? You're talking about a guy who entire family is athletic. He has two brothers that compete in the NFL. I mean, this is a freak of nature. This is a family where, you say to yourself, damn, that only comes once in a lifetime, really. But he said today, and I quote, let me read from my descriptions. He said, just got off the phone with the UFC today. I confirmed that I'm vacating the light heavyweight championship, Johns wrote on Twitter. It's official. It's officially up for grabs. It's been an amazing journey. Sincere. Thank you all. Thanks to all my competition, UFC, and most importantly, you fans. It's been an amazing journey. Sincere thank you to all my competition. That's Jon Jones on his way out the door, taking shots at his competition. The competition that couldn't beat him in the first place. Let's take a gamut at some of the big names, Jon Jones. Like Jon Jones has some of the most champions on his resume, y'all. Ryan Bader. He guillotine choked Ryan Bader in round 2. Ryan Bader is currently the champ over at Bellator, y'all. Mauricio Hua, former champion, legend of mixed martial arts. Quinn Jackson, legend of mixed martial arts, former champion. Lyoto Machida, legend, former champion in UFC. Rashad Evans, legend, former champion in UFC. Vitor Belfort, legend, Chael Sonnen, drug cheat, pretty good mouthpiece to the trash talking game, but he ain't a punk though. I like Chael Sonnen. Alexander Gustafsson went the distance with Jon Jones' first bout, and then was stopped in their rematch. DC, 2 times with DC. I'm gonna come back to DC because he's very important, y'all. He's very important. OSP over in St. Preux. Alexander Gustafsson subbed him out in round 3, 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Then Anthony Smith went the distance, could have took the title. That's why I respect Anthony Smith. Yeah, that's the same mixed martial artist who had an intruder in his home, and he fought the intruder. Man, come on, we already know you're a tough dude, but he's sitting up there saying, I tried my best to knock him out, but I couldn't knock him out. Come on, man. It's many other ways you could have handled that dude that was in your house with your kids, wife, everybody. You don't fight him and potentially ruin your career if you was injured. So Anthony Smith went 5 rounds with him. Then Thiago Santos, 5 rounds with the champ. He had a torn PCL, ACL, MCL, and still finished to the final round. Beast mode, y'all. Beast mode. Come on, man. Shout out to Thiago Santos, man. And then lastly, Dominic Reyes. A lot of people who seen this fight, very competitive fight. One thing I did witness, Dominic Reyes was getting off first. You know, he was being first on the low calf kicks, and you know he was mixing it up with like 2 or 3 punches at a time. You know, he was definitely trying to keep Jon Jones guessing, so he could not blitz and close distance on him. He really had a solid offensive game plan to refute Jon Jones' attack. He never really allowed Jon Jones to push him up against the cage, clinch, you know, get in some clinch work, land some of those lethal slicing elbows that Jon Jones likes to do. He never really allowed Jon Jones to dictate the momentum every time, even if he was leading. If he wanted to lead with a strike, Dominic Reyes kept his mobility. He moved. He swept nicely on the outside of the cage. And, you know, he kept his distance. And he used his boxing. And at one point in time, you know, Jon Jones had to get up out of dodge and avoid some of those punches Dominic Reyes was sending his way. But the good thing about it was I had Reyes winning the first 3 rounds and Jon Jones the last 2. And you saying to yourself, but Jon Jones won. Yeah, he did win because he's a big name in the UFC. And you always have to look at it like this. To beat a champ, you have to beat the champ. Beating the champ sometimes means knocking him out, subbing him, not leaving it in the hands of the judges. TKO, something. You know, beat him up so bad that he can't continue. But sometimes when you are not definitive in getting the win, you're going to come out and be disappointed. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to Dominic Reyes, I salute him, man. There was a former football player. I salute him. So now Dominic Reyes and Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith, all those guys are allowed to return to fight for this light heavyweight champ. Light heavyweight championship. Let me see who in the building. Boxing After Dark, what's good? JC in the building. Okay. What's going on, JC? I appreciate your support, bro. Boxing After Dark, salute to you. Appreciate you stopping through again. Jon Jones should have multiple losses on this record. He should. I cannot deny that. Jon Jones has been in some bouts where people thought he lost, but yet when it came down to the judge's decision, guess what? They gave it in favor of Jones. It just goes without saying how different mixed martial arts is from boxing. Like people will say sometime that, you know, a black fighter will get screwed over in boxing, this, that, and the other. Or if you're a repeat drug cheat and stuff like that, no one's gonna want to support you or come to your fights. That's not the case with Jon Jones. Lion Killer in the building. Salute, man. Subscribe to his channel, man. Thanks for dropping through. Tone, salute to you, man. Appreciate you stopping through the live chat. Jon Jones can't beat Cormier in heavyweight, and Jaw was on juice. Jon can never stay clean. Well, you probably heard me say that earlier. I'm not here to debate whether Jon can stay clean or not. He's made it perfectly clear that he is a grimy dude, and he's not going to commit to saying he's going to sustain sobriety. So with that said, that's not even a debate. We know he's been a dirty fighter. We know he's tested positive for recreational drugs and performance enhancing drugs. So collectively, you pretty much understand that he's a dirty fighter, but also he's paid his dues. He's been suspended. He's went before the commission. They fined him over $200,000 for him to return. He had one of the head guys vouch for him to get him back into the UFC. So this is where we at today. Jon Jones defeated Dominic Reyes, and he vacates the title. Now, with him vacating the title, it's not confirming that it's a retirement. What it's confirming is that Jon Jones has basically made a point that he wanted Deontay Wilder money. And he's been in a back and forth conversation with the UFC trying to negotiate higher pay. All right. And I don't blame him. But this vacating of the light heavyweight title isn't a retirement. It's just saying he's taking a little bit of time off from the sport. And he's going to hope that the powers to be, kind of call him back in, because Jon Jones is a draw. Dirty or not, Jon Jones is a draw. And you want to know the fucked up thing about it, they're mixed martial arts fans, MMA fans, is when DC had the crowd cheering for him when Jon Jones was out the sport. They was cheering for DC. DC had that smile on his face. He always where he wanted to be. Now he has the crowd embracing him. When Jon Jones words start to hit the media that Jon Jones was coming off suspension, he was cleared. This time around, DC vacated the light heavyweight title. He vacated the light heavyweight title because he didn't want to face Jones again. He even said it. They faced each other twice. In the second fight, in the rematch, it was ruled a no contest because Jon popped, right? But check this out. This rematch, in the rematch, DC, people was cheering him before Jon Jones, Jon Jones is out the sport. When Jon Jones and DC fought in a rematch, they was booing DC for no fucking reason. They was booing my man. I'm like, why y'all booing DC? DC a good guy, man. He's sensitive, but he's a legend, man. Daniel Cormier is a legend of the sport. He's an absolute legend. And the crowd turned on him. You got two black fighters. Remember this. Whenever you have two black fighters, people are going to have to choose which one they want to cheer for. The majority is not going to be 50-50 when you have two black fighters competing at the highest level. It just don't have to be black. It can be minority versus minority, whatever. It'll change if it's black, Hispanic, Latin, whatever. That's when it changes. But you had two black fighters, DC and Jon Jones. One is the good guy, Olympic pedigree, did what he's supposed to do in the sport, clean, went in there and proved that with his body composition, all nice and pudgy, you can still be a force to be reckoned with in mixed martial arts. And he proved that, people. He proved that he's a force to be reckoned with. He has an incredible resume. Daniel Cormier has an incredible resume. This is not about him, though. So therefore, they was cheering for Jon Jones on the rematch. And Jon went over there and, did what Jon Jones do and end up landing a nice left high kick. He'd been going to the body most of the fight. He landed that high kick up top, right up over the guard of DC. And if you really critique the fight on how, DC has bad habits, DC has a bad habit of leaning to his right too much. And he's gotten away with it. But that just goes to show you and proves how much of a cage IQ, a fight IQ that Jon Jones possesses. So when DC, kept, coming in close, and he'll lean to the right to try to distract, and he'll put that jab out there and then try to hit you with his right hand. His right hand is his golden ticket. That's what he knocked out Stipe Miocic with. So when he came in close to Jon Jones and he was going to the body on that right side before with the kick, he went up top, clipped him, made him stumble, went over there, landed some punches, and the fight was over. But it ended up being ruled a no contest. And this is where we at right now. Jon Jones is coming back to heavyweight. He wants to be a 2-division champion. It's going to happen. Right now, him vacating the light heavyweight title is very good because it allows somebody else to be in the position to become world champion. But what it does is allow Jon Jones, with still some real estate in his career, to be able to reign in another division. And this is going to be very tough because guess what, y'all? Guess what? We got some pretty decent names up here in the heavyweight division. All right. We got some pretty big names that Jon Jones can say that, he want to step in there with. You know what I'm saying? He can sit up here and say, you know what? I know what I can do at heavyweight, and I feel that I'll be this way against this person and all that. So let's forget your Zinho Rosenstruck, because he looked terrible against his teammate Junior Dos Santos the other night. So JDS, take them out. We're going with the top 4. Okay. Let me tell you what Jon Jones' vision is. This is his vision, people. Top 4. Number 4 is Derek Lewis. He already beat Derek Lewis. Number 3, Curtis Blade. He will beat Curtis Blade easy. Curtis Blade lost twice to Francis Ngannou. So that leaves us with what? 2 that sits atop the heavyweight division. This is going to blow your mind. Number 2 is Francis Ngannou, who has already had his title shot at heavyweight. He failed. You know what I'm saying? People talking about he was the next Mike Tyson and he got the hardest hands and all that. Yeah, he can punch. People just seen him recently knock out Rosenstruck in like 40 seconds. Okay, it was bound to happen. Rosenstruck was scared. Now, this is the crazy part about this entire heavyweight division, in which Jon Jones knows that he's going to get a title shot. Number 1 contender is DC. DC, from what they're saying, that was his last fight. He has an eye injury. He's going to be out the game. So you're trying to tell me Jon Jones moving up? There's going to be a little bit of, discontent and, people not liking, but he may indeed jump the line. You know what I'm saying? TC, what's good? He may indeed jump the line. He said he should have been suspended for life if he tests positive for anything. You just can't hold a no tolerance like that to say, if he tests positive, when you have players that's testing positive in other sports, ban them for life. Then you have, promotions and owners losing money. You know what I'm saying? I understand where you're getting at, and that's your opinion, real talk. But hey, I'm not here to debate whether he clean or not. How you pay? Come on, bro. God lives in a mansion. Yeah. He can live in the mansion. That don't mean he has money to live off of if he ain't working. You know what I'm saying? They might live in a mansion, but that don't mean they don't have a mortgage. Jon Jones got $1 million in Reyes fight. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying he broke, but it's a lot of people that have money. That doesn't mean you cannot negotiate for more money. Negotiation is a very important process. Do you think Jon Jones can beat Stipe? It'll be a tough fight. It would be an extremely tough fight. Do I think Jon Jones can beat Stipe? Yeah, I do. Because it's absolutely going to be different. You know why I think he can beat Stipe? Because he beat DC twice. And I know you might come back and say, well, DC was at light heavyweight. And DC moved up to heavyweight where he was undefeated. I get it. But he pretty much fought the same way he did it light heavyweight. He just didn't have to cut weight. Was it ever a time where he dropped Jon Jones in the first round like he did Stipe? No. Jon Jones too smart for that. He's too smart for it. And Stipe Miocic, he's going to have to use his boxing skills, and he's going to, he doesn't have that body to go to like Jon Jones, because Jon Jones can take a body shot. It's just DC was able to get away with it for quite some time. Jon Jones, Francis, and Stipe, I don't, bro. I think he can outsmart Francis Ngannou, especially in the first 2 rounds. Is going to be Francis Ngannou's toughest test, because Stipe moved around and had perfect defense for Francis, and he slipped a lot of Francis punches. And then comes the cardio. You know what I'm saying? Once anyone, especially in mixed martial arts, once anyone become fatigued, the takedown becomes much easier. That is absolutely truth, man. You can be the hardest hitting puncher, but when you have 5 minutes in a round and you're moving around and you're taking punishment and you're up against the cage defending the takedown, you fatigue. Now, a lot can happen in between that, but we've seen some of the biggest fighters with the heaviest hands fatigue and start getting taken down. Anthony Rumble Johnson, more like 10 seconds. Cormier is retired for good. Cormier, until they take him off the list, though, we don't know if he's retired. Cormier is an emotional guy, and he would say that. In the heat of the moment, Cormier say, I'm out. That's what Cormier do. And if he's retired, cool, he's a legend. Like I said before, if there's anybody I would like to speak to in the UFC, it'll be Cormier. I like him as a person. I like what he's done for the sport. He just was that guy who, outside of Jon Jones, he ruled. You know what I'm saying? He was at the top of the pinnacle. With Jon Jones in the equation, he was second best. When Jon Jones is out of the equation, he moved up. He vacated the title when Jon Jones is back inbound, and he went over there and knocked out Stipe Miocic in 1 round. But then in the rematch, Stipe knocked him out. You know what I'm saying? Went to the body, start changing the game plan up, different levels and placing his shots. Beautiful, beautiful offensive strategy. And it worked out and sealed the deal perfectly. And then we just seen what happened in this last one. He won. DC can't come in here telling me, oh, he poked me in the eye and I couldn't see anything. No, homie. You in the hurt business. You was poking people in the eye too, DC. So being that you was poking people in the eye, guess what? Sometimes the favor is going to be returned, because you poked Stipe in the eye the second fight, and you poked other people in the eye. Jon Jones has poked people in the eye. It goes across the board. You have open finger gloves, people. They're going to be eye pokes. They're going to be eye pokes. So that goes without saying. But, I salute Jon Jones for giving up the belt. It really opens up the gateway for some of these other fighters to kind of jump on board and become a champion. Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, and Dominic Reyes. I think the 2 best fighters out of those 3 names right there. I'm not including Alexander Gustafsson because he just lost at heavyweight, right? So I'm looking at Dominic Reyes and Thiago Santos, if anything, compete for the light heavyweight title. If anything, that would be a damn good fight right there. Thiago Santos and Dominic Reyes. Do not sleep on either one of those fighters. The reason I don't want to say Anthony Smith, because guess what? We all seen what happened in his fight where people was crying he took too much damage and everything like that. I really think Anthony Smith should let his body heal a little bit. He went through 2 tough training camps, and he has plenty of time to come back and just fight the winner of Thiago Santos and Dominic Reyes, man. Either one of those fights, it'll be tough for Anthony Smith, period. It'll be tough for him. Not saying he'll punk by any means, but he's had a roller coaster of a career. The beating Glover Teixeira put on him, man, it was something serious. I don't think it was as brutal as Justin Gaethje put on Tony Ferguson, but it was brutal enough to the point where you're talking about the heavyweight division and you know, a guy like Glover being on top position, raining down punches. And you know what? No matter what he says, I know it took him some weeks, several weeks to really regain his, you know, cognizance, regain his bearing, because that was a beatdown. Stipe poked Cormier in the first fight too. I look at all the fights, but that doesn't mean just because I leave out eye pokes, I haven't looked at the fight. Come on, man. It's easy. It's easy to critique. You know what I'm saying? But critique if I'm getting the fight wrong. But come on, man. Like, eye poke in the first round. I'm just saying. I mean, both of the fighters eye poked. I said eye poke, so across the board. What is that supposed to mean? Don't forget to look at the fight, bro. What does that mean? What does that mean exactly? Don't forget to look at the fight. Man, come on, man. Y'all tripping. Thiago Santos versus Dominic Reyes is a very good matchup for the vacant belt. I agree. Tone. You know what I'm saying? I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree. So like I said, hopefully those of you that was actually listening, you know, learn something. Jon Jones, definitely. He's the man at light heavyweight. He's gone. That doesn't mean he won't return to light heavyweight. But right now, him moving up to heavyweight is going to be good. Stipe is going to be out the sport for a while. So what does that mean? Potentially, we may see Francis Ngannou face Jon Jones for an interim title. You know, it's all about what Dana White and the crew wants to talk about. You know, how they want to bless Jon Jones. So when it comes down to it, I'm pretty sure they're going to fight for an interim title when Jon Jones commit to joining the heavyweight ranks, and they're going to fight for an interim title. So we're going to get to see the Francis Ngannou. Now, of course, people are going to say, "Oh, he shouldn't jump the line." Let's not go there, because the last time I checked, you know, DC didn't take forever to get his title shot. He didn't take forever. So Jon Jones shouldn't have to wait forever. He defended his title. He did what he had to do. He vacated it. And he's been one of the longest, like, combined reigning light heavyweight champions in history. You know, if you mesh everything up together. So lightweight, let's fight for heavyweight, let's fight for this freaking interim title. It don't matter who it is. But I would like to see Jon Jones fight Francis Ngannou. Not Curtis Blade, not Derek Lewis again, none of that. I want to see the heavy hitter, Francis Ngannou. The move up to heavyweight was long overdue, but he should have rematched Reyes to erase the controversy. There's no money in that, Tone. There's no money in that for Jon Jones. If he's trying to negotiate his value to the organization, rematching Dominic Reyes, I mean, it didn't do any astounding numbers. You know what I'm saying? If you want to talk about Jon Jones fighting DC a third time in, light heavyweight, or, something like that, then cool. But DC isn't dropping back down to light heavyweight. That's done. The move up to heavyweight was long overdue. My favorite UFC fighters are Cormier, Adesanya, Usman, Khabib. Cool, salute. I mean, that's a good bunch of people. Does anyone beat Dominic Reyes? What's going on, Sporting Advantage? Does anyone beat Dominic Reyes? Jones were on one even rematch, and he fights everyone. I would say for Dominic Reyes right now, it'll be a tough fight between him and Thiago Santos. It'll be a tough fight. Serious. Thiago Santos proved something. He's a tough dude. I mean, he had a shredded knee, and he continued to fight, and Jon Jones wouldn't even go in and level change for a takedown. He's a tough-ass dude, man. I got mad respect for Thiago Santos and Dominic Reyes for that. I thought Dominic Reyes beat Jon Jones 3-2 in their fight. I said, what up, WCS? Salute, man. What's good? What's good? Did Jon Jones hold the light heavyweight title and the heavyweight title at the same time? I'm not sure what your question is, man. You just told me to go back and watch the fight for an eye poke in their first. But now you asking me, did Jon Jones hold the light heavyweight and the heavyweight title at the same time? Come on, man. You mean DC? DC held the title. DC was champ. You know what I'm saying? He vacated the title once Jon Jones was back inbound. So in your opinion, who deserves the next shot at Stipe Miocic? Jon Jones. Jon Jones. You know why? Because Francis Ngannou already had his shot. Yeah, he defeated Curtis Blade again. And he's went in there and defeated Rosenstruck, which is just a hype job that sit up here and knocked out a fighter that's already been knocked out in Alistair Overeem. And he was a hype job, man. You know, he sit up there and he busted open Alistair Overeem lip, and people was like, oh shit, this dude can hit. Man, he was losing the fight. And then you look at the way Ngannou knocked out Alistair Overeem. Alistair's a legend, but he's been slept so many times, man. And they still keep him around and bring him into the clear medicals. It's just amazing. That dude's been knocked out so many times. Stipe versus Derek Lewis. No, man. No. Not yet. Derek Lewis just moved up there not too long ago to the heavyweight division. He still got some, proving to do, man. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I know he just won his last bout, but he still got some proving. My option. Who is yours? I thought Thiago Santos edged out Jon Jones when they fought, but it was a close fight. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Edged out. He lost the fight, man. If you're talking about in theory, it was a close fight. In theory, people would say Thiago Santos potentially won and Jon Jones. It depends on who you ask. Thiago might prove a better striking matchup for Reyes. Absolutely. I mean, he's a tough fighter. You're going to fight somebody with a torn PCL, MCL, and ACL? Come on, man. And you still kicking? You still kicking? Man, that dude's tough as hell. And he still went to the final bell? Come on, man. You got to give him props. How can a fighter just come to a weight division and just get a title shot that easily? He should work his way up a little, kind of like Usyk. We're talking about MMA versus boxing. The ranking system is much different. All right, the ranking system is much different. So you cannot cross thread conversation when it comes to mixed martial arts and boxing, because boxing, as we know it, has a larger landscape. They do business different. And then when it comes down to not having a governing body, so guess what? They do what the hell they want to do. So the ranking systems makes no sense. You can have somebody, if you want to have a mandatory, pop out of the blue and fight somebody, a champion. Cool, you can do that. Prime example, Carlos Ocampo facing Errol Spence. We ain't never heard of him, but he came out of nowhere just to be a mandatory for Errol Spence. But when it comes to mixed martial arts, guess what? If they want him to, if they can say he can move up and he was champion, they do it in boxing. Mixed martial arts, if they choose to say Jon Jones has earned to leave the division and go over here and, face the champ, guess what? He can. It's not such a big deal. Why should he work his way up? And he was the best at the light heavyweight division. He shouldn't have to work his way up. Real talk. He shouldn't have to work his way up. He should just be able to go over there off his merit alone and do what he has to do. If the organization see fit, he's a big ticket seller. Of course, the fight's going to do solid numbers. Hey, make it happen. But I can tell you this, it's up to the matchmakers, however they see fit. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna tell you something. When DC, I think his last fight at light heavyweight was Volkan Ozdemir when he shut him down in 2 rounds, right? He went immediately up and challenged Stipe Miocic in the heavyweight division, where DC has never fought before in the UFC. He was undefeated as he transferred over from Strikeforce, being in the tournament, fucking up Josh Barnett. Salute to one of the legends too, Josh Barnett. I talked to him a lot when I was overseas, but DC dispersed of Volkan Ozdemir, and then he moved up and fought DC. I'm just letting it be known. And once again, I know how to read. Like, come on, Boxing After Dark, man. You told me to look at the fight, bro. And I'm telling you to look at the freaking records, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to be careful trying to come at me sideways when I'm talking this boxing and MMA. I don't have to be behind the screen now. If you want to jump on here and have a conversation without the keyboard, that's cool. But I ain't looking up shit. Jon Jones is not just a fighter. This man has never lost and ruled with the iron fist. Absolutely, man. Ben Askren, sure. He didn't deserve that high of a fight better argument. There you go. Ben Askren came in here. He was undefeated. You know what I'm saying? 18-0. He got the fight. He won a controversial decision, Robbie Lawler. When what's his name? Tyrone Woodley smashed Robbie Lawler in 1 round to pick up the title. Ben Askren came over here for the only draft that ever happened with 1 championship and UFC. That's the only time. They traded Demetrius Johnson, arguably one of the GOATs of the UFC, who defended his flyweight title at 125 11 times. So when Ben Askren came over here, got the title, boom, he did what he had to do, and then he steps in there with who? Come on, man. We saw what happened. He got crushed. And then not only that, he tried to turn around from that moment of posthumous freaking unconsciousness. And he returns and goes in there with a BJJ world champion. And he has the wrong game plan, trying to implement his wrestling, knowing he has a bad hip. You know what I'm saying? He tries to grapple and basically jump into the game of Damian Maia, aka the backpack, and he loses. But yet he was able to get a fight with one of the top tier competitors. So when you look at Jon Jones, he can do the same thing DC did. DC last fight before moving up to face Stipe was Volkan Ozdemir light heavyweight. So guess what? Jon Jones vacate the title. He can come back and face the champ. But I'm gonna tell you what's possibly going to happen. The fact that he's going to fight for an interim title. He wins the interim title. He's going to face Stipe Miocic upon his return, and it's going to do big numbers. Jon Jones facing Stipe Miocic is going to swamp the numbers, the mediocre numbers that came out with DC and Stipe. It's going to swamp it because Jon Jones is that guy. And a lot of people think Jon Jones can be beat, but he found a way to win. While Stipe fights Francis again, which a lot of people want, he fights another heavyweight like Curtis Blades, then fights Stipe, which everyone wants to see, make both sides happy. I don't see why Jon Jones has to wait in line when Curtis Blades has never been champion. I don't see why Francis Ngannou have to face Stipe again, and he had his opportunity. So yeah, he's worked his way up, but it's different for everybody. Francis Ngannou is not a big ticket seller. He doesn't even touch. He doesn't even come close to Jon Jones being a ticket seller. Not even close. So for the people to wait for Stipe, to come back and heal up and everything else that goes along with him being out, taking a break out of fight camp and all that, to wait for Francis Ngannou, man, people ain't gonna just jump on board and say, "Oh man, we just can't wait for this fight." They don't want to hear that. If you say Jon Jones is now committed to the heavyweight division, then they're gonna say, okay, cool, man. We just can't wait till Jon come back now. We're ready. The problem is a lot of non-black men that are haters or racist and don't want to see him do good. Conor never put in weight in Nick Diaz or Donald Cerrone weight class to fight there for a title. Terrence, hey, first of all, salute to you, man, for dropping through. First half of that, I'm not sure the problem. A lot of non-black men are haters or racist. Don't. I'm not sure where that's coming from because there's not a lot of black superstars in the sport of mixed martial arts in the UFC. Okay, I just don't follow the UFC for mixed martial arts. I follow majority of the organizations that promote the sport. All right, let's get that clear. Second of all, when you mentioned Conor McGregor was an absolute ticket seller, one of the best trash talkers in the game, and he was able to punch his ticket at the right time. You know what I'm saying? It was a time and point where I was like dogging Conor. I was like, man, this dude ain't as good as they saying. But he dispersed of Dennis Silver, right? And then he dispersed of Chad Mendez, who I used to see a lot when I was in California, you know, up there at Team Alpha Male. So I'm saying, damn, okay, it might be something to this cat. So when he stepped in there featherweight and dispersed Jose Aldo in 13 seconds, he didn't even go immediately up to lightweight. That's the crazy part about it. And that's why I try to explain to individuals, when you follow more than one combat sport, your mentality is going to be different when you hear somebody moving up 2 weight classes. You got to understand how the process works, because some people actually believe they can do that shit. Conor McGregor moved from 145, where he looked like a skeleton with skin on bones, right? He moved all the way up to 170, man, to face Nick Diaz. All the way up to 170, yo. The weight classes are not the same as they are in boxing when you compare them to MMA. The featherweight division is 45. So he went from 145 up to 170 and put on a pretty decent account of himself against a BJJ black belt before he gassed the fuck out and was subbed. We're talking about an OG, Stockton OG, Nick Diaz. Come on, man. I mean, Nate Diaz. We're talking about a Stockton OG. Been fighting grown men ever since he was a teenager. So they had a rematch at 170. They gave Conor McGregor a rematch at 170, and he wins via decision. Then he comes back down. Dana White said, fuck it. Man, you making me money. People want to see you. I give you the title shot at lightweight. Drop back down and face who? Eddie Alvarez, the underground king that's been championing every organization he ever competed in. Boom, stopped him. Stopped him via punches, y'all. Legendary shit. And in the process of doing that, he's talking shit. He become champ. He's the first to ever do it. For featherweight and lightweight champion, first to ever do it. Now, guess what? He starts to latch on for a fight with TBE. Now, people are saying like, okay, Ronda Rousey was doing that shit first, but Conor McGregor followed suit because he felt like he can make some money off this shit. And so, you know, Floyd Mayweather just sitting back, chilling and seeing what's going on. People start saying, yeah, Conor McGregor fucked Floyd Mayweather up. And then you saw the video of Floyd Mayweather come up there and jump in the cage and say, what are the odds? What are the odds? He come up there with no shoes on, with some mixed martial arts, with some trunks, and act like he gonna fight in the cage. Genius. Floyd Mayweather's a fucking genius when it comes to damn marketing himself. So people start linking up. They say, oh man, is Floyd gonna fight him in the cage, or he gonna fight him in the ring and all that? It's always gonna be on Floyd's turn. Always. It ain't no disputing that shit, y'all. Man, get at me. It ain't no disputing this shit. Conor McGregor start talking shit. People start latching on. What do you know? Conor McGregor is able to cross over the boxing with an 0-0 record and fight the best there ever is and get stopped in 10 rounds and make $100 million. More money he ever would have seen if he would have stayed in mixed martial arts. So you trying to tell me Jon Jones need to work himself up? Man, come on. You sounding like a temporary, bro. You need to do your research all the way down the scales of the divisions and see who have moved up for an immediate title shot. If y'all ever tell me, oh, look at the fight, bro, I almost damn well probably looked at it several times already. I'm not, it ain't personal. I'm just saying no. I study this shit. I'm giving you straight back-to-back dialogue. I ain't looking up shit. Terrence say they don't support Jones. Oh, they support him, bro. They support him. He's a ticket. Jon Jones is a ticket, Terrence. I hope I can get on your channel and talk with you. I have a lot of knowledge. I'm also a martial artist, no doubt. You know, the one thing about me, I'm always open ears to get educated. It ain't no competition with me. You get on the channel, as long as it's all cool and I'm able to learn something, we have a dialogue, cool. But I don't have time to be competing with cats and trying to see who know which what, because, you know, combat sports in general, boxing and mixed martial arts, it's just too deep. Because I can ask you some questions that I know you don't know. And then you can ask me some questions I probably don't know. That's just how boxing, mixed martial arts, Muay Thai, grappling, all that shit is. Yeah, Nate is decent with BJJ, but his boxing isn't good. Man, his boxing is one of the top notch in the sport, dog. Nate got some damn good. Terrence, come on, man. Nate, they invented the Stockton slap. These dudes can fucking box, man. That's real. These dudes can box. Nate's a legend. Watch it. Yeah, Nate's a legend, man. Him and his brother Nick. They stick together, man. I like them cats, man. They stick together. They show loyalty. They show bond. They show family. I like them cats, man. I got mad respect for them. Bro, there's a lot of black MMA fighters in the UFC. I'm disappointed. Of course you're disappointed. Everything I've given you point blank, you're disappointed. I mean, you know, when somebody show you their hand initially, they pretty much letting you know what their intention is. The sit up here and dispute every crumb that they believe that's a meal, you know what I'm saying, for them to eat with. So everything that I said doing this freaking podcast, guess what? If you're sitting up here disputing some minuscule type of, you know, nitpicking and petty, I don't have time for it, man. If you ever want to jump on here and show your face and have a dialogue, please, by all means. I'm telling you, there's not a lot of brothers that's superstars in the sport of mixed martial arts. It's not majority of black fighters in mixed martial arts in the UFC. I didn't say there wasn't any black fighters in the UFC, but they're very limited superstars like Jon Jones. Very limited superstars like Jon Jones. Stipe is one of the best heavyweight champions. Stipe. Daniel Cormier was able to move up and face him. But guess what? Daniel Cormier is an exception to the plan, coming out of the light heavyweight division to the heavyweight. Jon Jones, light heavyweight. Adesanya just started to make his rise in the middleweight division. He just started. Before that, it was who? Robert Whittaker. And then you go down to the welterweight division. Tyrone Woodley had 4 defenses. Who was the champion before Woodley? Robbie Lawler. Tyrone Woodley wasn't considered just mega superstar. Who reigned on the featherweight division for the longest time? Jose Aldo, Conor McGregor. What about lightweight? Khabib Nurmagomedov. You had Max Holloway. And then get down to even the lighter divisions of 35. You had DC. You had TJ Dillashaw. And then you had Demetrius Johnson. But when I said superstars, Demetrius Johnson was a superstar for his resume, but it's not too many brothers emulating Demetrius Johnson. Demetrius Johnson wasn't a ticket seller. A superstar to me is when you sell tickets and your performance is at the top of the food chain. People want to come see you. People weren't really, lining up to see Demetrius Johnson. He never really promoted himself. You know what I'm saying? He's that dude that don't believe in trash talking. That's what he is, man. Sporting to say Willie ruled for a long time. Willie had 4 title defenses, and I'll tell you what they were. He took the title in Robbie Lawler in the first round. Then he came in here and faced Stephen Wonderboy Thompson twice. Earned a decision, and he had a draw. Then next he faced who? You tell me, who did he face? He faced the BJJ World Champion Damon Meyer, aka the Backpack. He negated like 23 takedown attempts, and he tore his labrum in the process, but he won the decision. Who did he fight next? Darren Till. Knocked him out. Crucial elbows. Who did he lose his title to? Kamaru Usman. Just because Kamaru Usman is dark skinned doesn't mean he's a brother. When they wear their country colors, that's who they wear, their country colors. But there's not a lot of superstars that are black in mixed martial arts like Jon Jones. It's not. When you take when you go outside UFC, the Bellator, even the PFL and these other organizations, yeah, I mean, when you get down to the regional level, you might find some brothers down there. I go to these schools. I know some of the fighters that have been in the game. If you follow the sport, you can call them a superstar, but me saying, okay, how long they've been champion, if they ever been champion, and so forth. That's how I consider them to be a superstar. Willie ruled for a long time. Demetrius Johnson holds the record as champ. Missed a few greats. No, I'm about to get off, man. I have to step next door. T Joyner. We'll link up next time, man. And if you're gonna come on, I need for you to, we're gonna show our face. It's not gonna be behind the screen type of deal. And I don't know who I'm talking to. Just the FYI, man. You know what I'm saying? T Joyner, what's good, man? Say salute WCS. They train under Gracie. Yeah. Absolutely. They always mention him. They always give homage. They always pay homage to Cesar Gracie, their professor. Boxing off that you judging the black MMA fighters off a boxing standpoint. That's why you don't understand, man. You just see people and they give you that energy, like go look at a fight, bro. But they wouldn't get on here and have a dialogue. Like I'm having a dialogue with you all straight behind the mic. I don't have to look up shit. My bad, thinking all-time great. Mighty Mouse definitely in the conversation. Of course, Terrence, sporting events, the Gracies aren't even the best grapplers. The Japanese use to beat them even. I'm not sure where that's coming from, Terrence, but I think he was talking about the Gracies in a sense of being the professors who raised the Diaz brothers, Nick and Nick. That's a fact. And as far as them being the best, I agree. When you go to the ADCC, when you go to the EBI, all these grappling tournaments that they have up here, these world championships and everything. Yeah, the Gracies had their point sometime under. That's a whole nother story that I get into. But he didn't really ask where did jiu-jitsu originate from. We already know the story. That's another day. If you want to talk about where BJJ originated from, when the Japanese were teaching it, and then the Gracie family took it and they reinvented and turned it into Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, brought it back to the U.S. and all that. Yeah, we can talk about that. We can talk about that. They keep feeding great fights. You could be right. No way promoting just opinion. Hey, man, it is what it is, man. The sport, the comeback is so huge. When it comes to mixed martial arts, it's big time. So, you really got to, do your research and follow the sport and actually spend time in these schools and understand how they train and everything else. It's levels to everything you do in life. Everything you do in life. People can be geniuses sitting behind the screen, looking up information. People can be extremely genius, but if you're having a dialogue face to face, can you be able to talk about something? Can you identify what you're watching? Can you go over a fight and explain certain things in certain rounds that happen? You know, what happened in those rounds? You know, certain fighters and when they actually came into the sport. You know, has there been boxers who fared very well in mixed martial arts? Yes. Yes, they have been boxers. So, you know, when I hear people talk about boxers, they get fucked up in mixed martial arts. And I'm like, hey, perfect example. You know, you got Ray Mercer, who left the sport of boxing, came over here and knocked out Tim Sylvia. He used to be a boxer. And he went over here and trained mixed martial arts a little bit. And, you know, people was like saying he going to get fucked up and everything. He knocked out Tim Sylvia. Now, of course, Tim Sylvia's chin was suspect anyway. But we're talking about Ray Mercer, a bona fide legend of the sport, Olympic pedigree. There's a lot more to him than knocking out Tommy Morrison. And then you look at Holly Holmes. What? She was 18-time boxing champion. She turned over to what? Kickboxing, Muay Thai, you know, kind of learned the ropes and everything, competed, and then transferred over to mixed martial arts when they felt she was ready. And her claim to fame is indeed defeating Ronda Rousey, stopping her streak of 6. But besides that, nothing. I mean, you got to give it up for Miesha Tate for holding on, because Miesha Tate wouldn't have held on and locked those hands together and worked for that submission, she never would have held a belt. But since Holly Holm was running for her life and kind of abandoned the mission to protect herself and prevent, you know, Miesha Tate, who was pretty decent at wrestling and grappling, she got subbed. But that's another day, man. The brothers I like is Jones, Leon Edwards, Michael Venom, Page, and Raymond Daniels. Okay, Terrence, for sure. All right. I appreciate my man Raymond Daniels. I've seen him in person before. Dude is absolutely a unique, dynamic freaking striker to be, you know, have some of the best spinning techniques in the sport of KB. Raymond Daniels is amazing. And also he has one of the most prolific knockouts that you ever see in mixed martial arts. That tornado kick setup, the way he knocked, man, unbelievable. Leon Edwards, I ain't sold on him yet. All right. But Michael Venom, Page, once again, very awkward, different type of fighter. And, you know, I got to give him his props, man. He's very quick at what he does. He is an awkward fighter and he has pretty decent power. But my boy Douglas Lima, the best welterweight in the sport, knocked him out. Gave him his first loss. Michael Venom Page, you know, when you get used to doing things your way all the time and you have success with certain fighters who are somewhat timid by that in and out type of method that he used to get in close and land shots. You're talking about Douglas Lima, who has one of the most lethal right leg kicks in the sport of mixed martial arts. 4-time welterweight champion, 3-time Bellator welterweight champion. When he timed Michael Venom Page and was able to deliver that low calf kick and he dropped him and then hit him with that right uppercut, it's night-night. It's night-night. Yeah. Venom put you in the back and good. Yeah. Well played. Yeah, that's what it is, man. But fellas, I appreciate y'all stopping through talking this mixed martial arts. Real talk. Real talk. You know, it's all good. I know everybody ain't gonna support the channel. It's all good, but pass the word, man. You know what it is, man. I cover boxing and mixed martial arts, and you know, be careful about what you say when you come over here, because when the camera's on and we talking, you're gonna have to come up with the information. I like interacting. It was some damn good, solid content. You know, I can stay on here talking about mixed martial arts forever, forever. If you have information, you know, that I can learn from, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, man. I've been covering mixed martial arts since the days overseas. I was overseas when Pride was kicking off. I met Rampage. I met Alistair Overeem. I seen Alistair Overeem compete when he was freaking dirty. When he was a juiced up Overeem. He was like a chiseled Adonis. when he was over there in the Grand Prix. I met Badahari. I seen Hindu when he was over there. Man, all them cats that was over there, man. Boss Rudin, man, them cats that was coming up. Man, crazy. Mark Coleman. Tito Ortiz was my guy. Yeah, Tito's was one of the pioneers, man. Come on, Tito was one of the pioneers, man. Real talk. I started watching UFC when Boss Rudin was getting done. Yeah, man. You know, we could talk UFC, you know, again. Just keep a watch out for when I put the thumbnails out there. And I have no problem, man. You know, talking UFC, we'll chat it up and talk about some stuff, man. I don't have no problem with it. I don't care if you're a fighter, a coach, a trainer. It's all good with me. I'm comfortable. I'm good. I watched Line Fight, Bellator Max, Muay Thai. Yeah, Muay Thai too. Absolutely. Muay Thai, once again, have some amazing strikers. Amazing matches that took place in Muay Thai, man. Amazing. Muay Thai is a beast. I had the opportunity when I was overseas to go to Thailand and go to the schools and see it firsthand on how they train some of the fighters over there. Brutal. It would be considered abuse over here. You know, the way those kids was being taught. They ain't ready for that shit over here in the US. To be trained like that, like you go to Singapore, Thailand, and all those places overseas, Japan, on how they freaking train you in the schools. People be complaining, trying to put lawsuits in, and they telling you, we have to inform you that you have to leave. You're not healthy for our school and the system that we're trying to teach, so you have to leave. And we don't want you to return. You know what I'm saying? That's what they'll tell you. Them Japanese dojos, man, I've been there. I like the culture. I like how they basically hold you to a standard overseas, especially when you're practicing over there in the schools in Japan. Even Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Kevin Randleman, of course, man. Listen, Kevin Randleman had one of the most lethal, dangerous, brutal slams that you would ever see when he locked up on Fedor Emelianenko. Fedor should be paralyzed to this day. Kevin Randleman, the way he suplexed, that wasn't even a 5 point. That's probably like, I don't know what you call, man. That in wrestling, that would be a 5 point. Easy. The only one that had a better suplex than Kevin Randleman is Michael Chandler when he suplexed Ben Henderson. Man, that shit was brutal the way Kevin Randleman left the ground. And that's the only reason I give him the edge over Michael Chandler, because he left the ground and he drove Fedor's head into the canvas. Fedor should have been paralyzed today. If you want to even go further, the first person to sub Fedor Emelianenko was who? Fabricio Verdun. He called him in the triangle choke. He's the first one to sub Fedor. But when Kevin Randleman dropped him on his head, he still lost the fight. That's why Fedor was considered a legend, man. Like anyone else that would have got slammed on their head like that by Kevin Randleman would have been out. Look at the Rampage slam. I can go on this forever, but I got to bounce, man. I'm going to read this. My parents love that too. So he was a pride guy. Man, and Kevin Randleman, his boy was Mark Coleman. Both of them cats was chiseled to the bone, man. I'm talking about chiseled to the bone. And you rarely see dudes this day and time rip the shreds like Mark Coleman and Kevin Randleman. You rarely see cats in there competing like that. They was competing when you was wearing shoes. You know what I'm saying? I come from Taekwondo karate system. Man, those guys, Stephen Thompson, Yoda Machida, Chinzo Chida. I love their fighting system. I also study Wing Chun, which is my main blueprint. For sure, man. You know, salute to your martial arts, you know, ruler, you know, your resume. Salute, man. I come from the days when I wanted Brock to fight Fedor. I never wanted Brock Lesnar to fight Fedor, man. I never seen Brock Lesnar, even though he practiced mixed martial arts on the side, I never thought he would even come close with the IQ of defeating Fedor. No way, no how, man. Fedor was a different dude. Fedor was a different dude. I mean, he's steadily getting knocked out now, but he's only fighting probably because he needs the money. But that just goes to show you, man, like, why I don't call these fighters bums like that, because this sport don't have a retirement plan. Some of these fighters fight past their competitive prime, but guess what? That's the law. That's what it is, man. But y'all been great, man. I appreciate y'all for stopping through. Just keep a lookout, man. Subscribe to the channel, and we're gonna do this again. You know what I'm saying? The next time you want to jump on here, Terrence, we can do this. We can talk some mixed martial arts or whatever. You can talk about your history in martial arts. I'm all open ears, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about learning about other people's history. Shit, especially arts that I haven't trained. You know what I'm saying? For sure. Y'all turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports, man.